Hello and welcome. Well, these are crucial times on the continent where growing discontent continues to drive political conversations, often leaving regions on the edge of a cliff with all the ills of ethnic division and social fragmentation. This is Africa This Week, and I'm your guide, Fadeshola Shotingwa. We start off the day with earlier in the week. Welcome on board. Well, on Monday, the World Health Organization, the WHO, sounded the alarm over a cholera outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which has already claimed 528 lives. The UN says the outbreak has reached worrying proportions as 20 out of 26 provinces have been affected by the disease. It added that cholera is now a major public health problem in the country, with millions of cases registered every year. Last year, the disease claimed 817 lives there, according to the World Health Organization. And it was also in the news on Monday that Morgan Tsvangirai threw a challenge to Zimbabwe's opposition parties in the country to put aside petty personal squabbles and unite behind one banner in the upcoming 2018 elections. Tsvangirai said opposition parties are stronger together and that the 2018 polls were their final chance to get rid of what he calls the ZANU-PF dictatorship fronted by President Robert Mugabe. According to him, the 2018 presidential elections will come with an opportunity for the people of Zimbabwe to take their destiny in their hands at the ballot. The Nigeria Customs Service, the NCS, should off more than 1,000 high-caliber rifles seized at the Tinkan Island port in Lagos on Monday. The seized weapons were concealed in a 20-foot container and falsely declared as wash-hand basins.
What appears to be a recurring decimal for the third time running this year, the Nigerian Customs Service has again intercepted 1,100 pump-action guns at the Tinkan Island port in Lagos. Precisely on January the 31st this year, the Nigeria Customs intercepted this Mack truck transporting 49 boxes of pump-action rifles along the Mile 2 Apapa Road. 4 months later, in May, yet another container load of arms and ammunition was also seized by the Nigeria Customs Service at the Tinkan Island port in Lagos State. The Comptroller General of Customs, Hamid Ali, revealed that so far all the consignments were imported into the country from Turkey.
After complete profiling, we discovered that it came from Turkey. The second one also from Turkey. Now the third one. So I assure you that we know where it's coming from, and we're going to take up the necessary steps to make sure that we talk at governmental level.
Ali disclosed that already a customs officer suspected to have cut the seal of the container without following due process, as well as a clerk at the command, have been arrested in connection with this latest discovery. When asked about the outcome of investigations on previous weapon seizures, Ali stated that the cases are still in court.
We are still profiling. We have, in my own note, I've mentioned the people that we have arrested. We have arrested our officer who cut the seal. And we believe that he will lead us to who he connived with in order to cut the seal. So the investigation is progressing, and I'm sure we're going to get to the bottom of the line. We'll get the importer, and also we'll get other things.
The Comptroller General of Customs, Hamid Ali, is saying that henceforth shipping lines and terminal operators will be held responsible for importations such as this. From Tinkan Island Port, Ifunanya Eze, TVC News.
President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya opened Parliament on Tuesday with a warning against what he says are divisive and destructive politics as opposition lawmakers boycotted the sitting. In his speech, the president emphasized the need for all arms of government to work together, adding that Kenyan politics should be devoid of intimidation. The president's words were meant to stir the opposition, which has a new date with the electorate after the presidential election of August the 8th was nullified and a rerun set for October the 17th.
The separation of powers of the three arms of government is a critical constitutional principle in protecting the liberty of our people. But given the complexity of the public issues that the three arms of government, as well as constitutional commissions, have to handle, they must work together willingly, even as they respect each other's functional independence. Equally important, the three arms are supposed to be free, and I repeat, free from intimidation or control by any foreign or domestic actors and any special interest groups.
And riots broke out in Kenya's opposition stronghold of Kisumu City Wednesday after a rumor spread about alleged efforts to rig the next month's presidential election. Police said several people were injured as police engaged youth who blocked roads in the southwestern city and threw stones. The Kenya television network reported that youths stormed a meeting of women from various religious groups at a local hotel as they discussed how to ensure a peaceful election. Kenya will hold a repeat presidential election on October the 17th after the Supreme Court nullified President Uhuru Kenyatta's re-election last month. On Thursday, the Nigerian government celebrated the 2017 World Peace Day with a call on citizens to stop the spread of hate messages through social media. The Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, in conjunction with the National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA), at a briefing in Abuja, urged citizens to promote peaceful coexistence despite their diversity. Both agencies partnered to take their peace campaign to different parts of Nigeria, including the internally displaced people's camps in the northeast through the use of jingles on community radio, visitation to religious centers and sports centers, amongst others.
The spread of falsehood and hate speech via social media platforms is also creating and digging imaginary fault lines between people and communities, undermining human respect, safety, and dignity across our dear country, Nigeria. We must join hands together to build peace and bridges of friendship and good relations among Nigerians, regardless of creed, ethnicity, or regional affiliation. Everyone is a stakeholder in the business of peace promotion and conflict prevention. We must all rally around the government and other partners of peace in supporting internally displaced persons and other victims of forced eviction who flee their homes in the northeast, like other geopolitical zones.
Each and every individual here has a role to play, even if to dismiss the hate speech, particularly in the social media. You can see people engage themselves as if they are in war.
And still in Nigeria, the National Association of Resident Doctors suspended its strike on Thursday. The suspension was announced after a meeting of the executives of the association with representatives of the federal government. But the doctors said they will meet in 2 weeks to review how far the government had gone in honoring the agreements reached.
And in some of the meetings, we didn't reach much agreement. However, within the last 1 week, we met them several, and we felt that they've shown some commitment, and the shortfalls, some part of it has been paid, and we hope that before the week runs out, that aspect will be completed. Other aspects of the demands that we presented to them are also receiving urgent attention. So being human and also being aware of the type of work we do, and because of the interest of the patients and the Nigerian populace at heart, we decided to suspend the strike action to give the government that benefit of the doubt that they will complete the other terms signed in the Memorandum of Terms of Settlement.
Hundreds of migrants of mainly African origin were rescued at sea from a rubber dinghy that departed from the coast of Libya on Friday. Rescue workers saved 102 people, including a mother with a baby, from their precarious vessel. A further 109 migrants of mainly Northern African origin were later transferred on board at night from another vessel out at sea. Arrivals in Italy from North Africa, the main route for migration to Europe this year, dropped by more than 50% in July from a year earlier. And on Friday, the Nigerian Defense Headquarters branded the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, as a militant terrorist organization. The defense spokesman, Major General John Enenche, restated the commitment of the armed forces to confront all security challenges facing the country. He said that the IPOB posed a security challenge and had been metamorphosing from one stage to another. The defense headquarters listed reasons for branding IPOB a terror group, and they include the formation of a Biafra secret service, claimed formation of Biafra National Guard, unauthorized blocking of public access roads, extortion of money from innocent civilians at illegal roadblocks. Others include militant possession and use of weapons on a military patrol on September the 10th, 2017, and physical confrontation of troops by Nnamdi Kanu and other IPOB actors. And with that, we have come to the end of Earlier in the Week. Up next is Digging Deep, and that will be after the break. To stay with us. Welcome back to Africa This Week. Well, 47 years after the bloody civil war in Nigeria, which engulfed the first attempt of Biafra declaration, the relics of the unfortunate event have refused to go away with a fresh call for secession. In recent months, it has been a round of organized sit-outs, rowdy standoffs and evolving ideologies as the drums of secessionist agenda by separatist movements gets louder by the day. Joining me in the studio to dig deep on Africa This Week is Jide Johnson, a lecturer and political analyst in Nigeria. Welcome to the program.
It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
Now, let's kick off very quickly. What are your thoughts on the ongoing tension in the southeastern part of the country?
Well, it's an issue that is of concern to everybody, that every Nigerian should be concerned, because there must be peace for progress to exist in any society. So it's an unwelcome development. These are issues that could be addressed if we have strong institutions, because there are institutional means in a democratic society for you to table your demands and your agitations as regards what you want from the Nigerian state, other than resorting to violence and militarized agitations.
The indigenous people of Biafra, popularly known as IPOB, they've been branded a terrorist organization. Is this an apt move by the military?
Well, first and foremost, we are not in a military regime. Secondly,
is it only in military regimes that we brand organizations?
It is not the rest. I'm coming. Secondly, you know, I spoke about institution. Now, secondly, it is not the responsibility of the military to do that. It is the responsibility of, in my own understanding, the Attorney General of the Federation, or the National Security Advisor of the nation, or the Inspector General of the Police, or the executive as a whole, approaching the court for an order to declare a group or groups of persons that are trying to cause disaffection or disharmony or to disrupt the state of peace and progress that exists within the Nigerian nation as a terrorist group. For instance, the United States of American military cannot wake up one day and say, okay, we are declaring this group. Even when there was an attempt by the president to put a travel ban on some certain countries, the courts declared it illegal. So as far as I'm concerned, there are processes, and I talk about institutions. Now, there are institutions within a democratic society to make pronouncement. It is outside the purview, in my own understanding, of the military to do that. It's outside the purview because there are institutions in democratic society. I
don't think that they would have, the Nigerian military would have taken that unilateral decision, you know, without consulting the relevant authorities.
Such even the statement shouldn't, that's why I said we are not in a military regime. Such statement ought not to come from the military. It ought to come from the office of the Attorney General, who happens to be the chief law officer of the state. Are you with me? Or institutions to deal with such issues. You have the police, you have the Ministry of Interior. So as far as I'm concerned, it's not the responsibility of the military to declare. In fact, it's not even the responsibility of the Attorney General to declare a group until a court makes a pronouncement. There should be an order. This is a democratic society, and we have failure of institutions, and we must respect institutions. For this democracy to thrive, institutions must be perfect. They must have super institutions, and we must test the constitutionality of the actions or inactions of the actors and the players in the society, and it's a challenge.
All right, the leader of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, is he the new spokesperson for the people of the East, as he claims, considering that he does have dual citizenship?
I don't know whether we have what is called the East, the West, or the South in Nigeria, because you have states. You are identified by your local government, you are identified by your state, and you are identified by the Nigerian nation. So as far as I'm concerned, for instance, if someone should come from the Southwest now, and someone should come up and say, oh, he's my spokesperson, well, was there a conference? Was there an election? Was there a referendum? Well, you see, it's a failure of a system. And what we are having, is as a result of the intellectual community.
Well, do you disagree that he is speaking for people of the East?
I'm not sure he's speaking for the people of the East. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Because there was no forum, there was no platform. Where is his legitimacy? Where is his sovereignty? Who is he representing? Was he elected? Was he nominated? Was he appointed? And on whose behalf is he speaking? Are you with me? So these are issues that needs to be looked into. And it got to this point because you know what? The state institutions that are meant to address anyone that goes off the line did not act on time.
They failed.
2, the intellectual community kept quiet. 3, the elites kept quiet as regards what was going on. And you see, there are deeper issues in Nigeria beyond Nnamdi Kanu.
Indeed.
There are deeper issues.
Indeed.
You have the issue of unemployment. You have the issue of unemployment. You have the issue, because look, what is the population of Nigerian youths that are unemployed? An idle hand is the devil's workshop. Anybody can raborouse people that have no jobs to do. Now, I am a product of the Nigerian state. I've gone to the university system. I left school. After I left school, I have no job. And there's nothing the state is doing to provide me with jobs to make me feel to be part and parcel of that society. 1. 2, I'm part of the Nigerian state. I'm a student. ASU keeps going on strike year in, year out.
Yeah.
And those issues are addressed. You see, there's a particular saying in my local dialect. They say this way,
you need to translate
I'll try to. Now, you are leaving your saw to leave a scar on your head, to address the scar on your head. To acne on your head. You are leaving a sore on your leg to address the acne on your face. Let me put it. There are deeper issues.
Yeah.
There are deeper. If you look at the topical issue in the last 9 months or thereabout is the issue about restructuring. People are talking about there should
bigger
be
issues. Bigger issues, yes, but IPOB, the main agenda is secessionists from Nigeria. That is a big issue. Now, it's a treasonable felony.
That's why I'm saying there are institutions of the state. Are you with me? My view, I think the Attorney General of the Federation should resign. Because look, before this issue got to this issue, the court system. You know, this issue has gone to the court and a bail was proven. And look, there are laws. Where your own right stops, that's where my own right starts. Your own freedom of expression should not be an invasion on my own privacy or my own freedom of movement. For instance, if I want to travel, you don't have any right to block the road because you're agitating. So there are issues, there are institutions within the state to deal with issues. And when you have failure of institutions, you have problem of this because before if you read out the list that the military read out yesterday. Now, was there a press conference? Did all of those things happen yesterday? Did it happen
well,
yesterday?
The military decided to take a decision yesterday.
A decisive one.
Let's move on now. Okay. Some have described these agitations as being politically motivated. What are your thoughts?
Well, man by nature is a political animal.
Indeed.
But I believe that there are institutions of channeling your demands in any given society. You have the National Assembly. You have the governors. As I talk about the failure of the system. Now, you have governors in those states that are chief security officers of the state. You have police commissioners in those areas. You have DPOs in those areas. You have SSS in those areas. What is the level of intelligence they've gathered at those particular points? And what have they done with the intelligence they've gathered? Are you with me?
That leads me to my next question. Great. How do you react to the recent face-off between IPOB and members of the Nigerian military in the southeast?
Now, any group that attacks the military, any group, under any guise, because that's why I said there's a legitimate means. That's why you have the National Assembly, you have the State House of Assembly, you have various institutions. Any group that attacks the military is attacking the sovereignty of Nigeria. Any group whatsoever is attacking you, is attacking me, is attacking the Constitution. And by virtue of the powers vested in the military is to defend the territorial sovereignty of Nigeria. So that's why I am not against any group or any individual or group of persons agitating, making demands for their rights. But there are legitimate means of doing that without resorting to violence, without putting the lives of people at risk, without leading to carnage or war. Because in the process, that's why I said they are deeper. In the process, it leads to the radicalization of the younger generation that have impressionable mind. Now, there is a radicalization going about it. It is not a carrot and stick. That's what I'm saying. This issue does not require carrot and stick approach. It is because failure of institution over time. Little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. If you have a little sore on your leg, if you don't pay attention to it, it will grow. And that's the problem we have now. We wait for issues to develop.
All right. What must be done to these issues of marginalization to end, which is what gave birth to IPOB in the first place?
Look, and you see, when people talk about marginalization, I'm taken aback.
Why so?
For instance, look, every group in Nigeria we see they are marginalized. If you break, that's why I've said that I am totally against territorial restructuring. I am for institutional restructuring. If you have strong institutions, if you have the court system, the judicial system, the legislature, which is meant to be the true representative of the people. You have senators from the southeast, you have senators from the southwest. Are you getting my point? When they go to Abuja, they become members of the same party. Nigerian Senators Group.
In Abuja.
In Abuja. Now, when it comes to election, they begin to play you and I against one another. Look, just this year, Concerning Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, I came back from Ibadan yesterday evening. There was a budget. The budget this year, the money for it was slashed. The major gateway out of it was slashed. Yet there was not a single senator from the Southwest that objected to that money. Now, in the Southeast, Ekere Madu is the deputy Senate president. We've had somebody to be the secretary to the federal government from the East. Are you getting my... So when people begin to talk about marginalization, Nnamdi Azikiwe was the governor general and the president in the First Republic.
Indeed.
Imo Ezeke was the speaker of the House of Representatives. You see, these issues, if you go deeper into it, you just discover that it is more of politics.
They probably don't really exist.
Than fighting for anybody's interest. Whose interest are all the senators and whose interest are they fighting for?
You have to leave it here. Jide Johnson, lecturer and political analyst. Many thanks for joining me on Africa.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thanks for being here.
Week.
Well, at the risk of repeating mistakes of the past and averting the misfortunes of the future, present-day agitations must act as a wake-up call to fast-track national dialogue and address the growing discontent. I have been your guide, Fadishola Shotingwa. Many thanks for watching and bye for now.